Hey everybody, how are you doing? I feel like my camera kind of tilted a little bit. There we go. Hope all is well. It's been a long time since I did one of these videos. Hope you bear with me. I hope all is well with you, and even if it's not in this current moment in time, I want to offer some hope that your time or your day or your life can get better. Keep going, keep going, keep going. The title of this video is going to be Tell. Tell, 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 tell. Tell. Tell, tell, tell. I'm going to talk about myself today. Use myself as a point of reference for you in hopes that, number one, I'm not talking about anybody else or anybody else's story. I'm talking about my own life. And maybe you will hear something that resonates with you or is the same as your situation, or you can identify with some of the things that I'm getting ready to say. Bear with me. I don't know who this video is for. I haven't done a video. I haven't had a desire to do a video. And all of a sudden today, this thing pressed upon my spirit so heavy, just like bricks sitting in my stomach. And I realized I couldn't continue on with my day or my studies or anything that I have to do until I recorded this. So whoever this is for, God is sending this message directly to you. Receive it and do whatever you have to do to free yourself. All right. When I was a little girl, I am the oldest in my parents' household. We've talked about this a million times. I've talked about this and processed it with my mother and my father. I wrote a book about it. So this is no secret. I grew up in a home where domestic violence was the norm. Okay. My mother, whose mother died at the age of 15 and she never knew her father, thought that physical violence between husband and wife, she believed that to be normal. Okay. And so consequently, we as the children grew up in an environment where abuse was normalized. Okay. We saw things and heard things that weren't right. People were getting hurt. It later turns into PTSD because, the things that we saw and witnessed, our lives were at stake. You know what I'm saying? There was a whole bunch of stuff. I don't have to apologize and do all that stuff. My family is aware. They know me. They know how I get down, which is why sometimes some family members be threatened, but that's a different video. People were being harmed in my home, in particular my mother, and we were conditioned not to tell. We learned not to tell very early on. I can remember being in high school and things just got so bad. There was substance use and alcoholism, and then there was a system of church and all these factors that played into the fact that we could not or did not know how to tell. So you grow up believing that not telling is normal. Okay? Bear with me. I'm going somewhere. This is very, very important. May not be for everybody, but I'm after the one today. Okay? This was in my family and this was physical. Fast forward, I'm 15. I think this boy likes me. I have been reared in a Catholic school, so I'm super naive. All right? Keep that in mind. I am ignorant to the game. I do not know how boyfriend and girlfriend relationships work. Nobody ever talked to me about it. Okay? The most people talked to me was cover up the fact that you had a body, because for some reason, the body that God gave me with this booty that I was unaware of was bad. Okay. Nobody taught me how to manage it or the beauty in the way that God develops us. Anyway, different video. So when this boy showed interest in me, I was reluctant. He was way older than me and I didn't know the game. Nobody taught me the game. Consequently, I ended up getting raped. I ended up being, at the age of 15, sexually abused. All right. So reared in physical abuse, now I'm experiencing sexual abuse. Everybody with me? Very different kinds of abuse. I am aware of alcohol abuse, different drugs. I'm not doing it, but I'm in an environment where that is the norm. Now I'm exposed to sexual abuse, and guess what? True to form, I didn't tell. I was harmed, and I never told a soul. Okay? Never told anybody what had happened to me. All right? He stole my virginity. He harmed me. I was scared for my life. And I didn't tell because I believed that this person could further bring harm to me. They told me, I'll kill you and your family. They knew where I lived. And so I kept the secret. I never told anybody. And it festered and it festered. Okay? Now I'm ready to start my life. Fast forward. I move away from my hometown. I come down here. And now I'm ready to start my life. And in joining this ministry, I was the secretary, okay? The pastor called me the secretary, and he would often reference in the ministry, ironically, that I was a keeper of secrets. At the time, I'm ignorant. I don't know. I'm reared in dysfunction, kept secrets. I'm raped, kept secrets. Now I'm over in the kingdom of God, and it's a great thing. I'm being championed and rewarded that no matter what I see, no matter what I hear, no matter what goes on, just like my childhood, you keep the secret. You don't tell what's really happening, okay? Which consequently then puts a target on your back and makes people really not like you, or it makes people wonder about you because they're wondering, what does she know that she's not telling? Okay? What started happening to me was I started getting real confused because I was being harmed in a way that I couldn't articulate to people, but that was normal for me. As a child, you see all this physical violence, you're being threatened, you seeing people be one way today, a different way tomorrow. You don't know how to explain that. The boy liked me today, and then tomorrow he harms me. So this was no different, okay? I was reared, conditioned, trained. I learned that this kind of thing was normal behavior, that somebody could be one way today, and then people in general can be another way tomorrow. I learned to do it myself. I learned to wear masks. I learned to present one way, but actually be feeling another way. I learned to act like everything was okay, that nothing bothered me. And just like when I was raped, but deep down, I was harmed. I was messed up. I was messed up psychologically, sexually, emotionally, now spiritually. I would cry out to God. I get emotional sometimes because, honest to God, I was so confused. I was so messed up at that time, and I had nobody to really talk to. And I would lay on my bedroom floor and I would cry out to God. I couldn't really express to my husband the things that I was seeing and what was going on. I would tell my mom and stuff, but she was a woman of God, reared in a system, who believed, just like me, that this stuff is normal. I would cry out to God, and God would show me dreams and visions and just different things. And what he began to do was teach me the difference. He would show me something totally contradictory to what I had been experiencing. I had seen one thing, and then he would show me things in the Bible, and he took me through a series in my life to teach me to trust him more than I would trust anybody else. The man of God, the woman of God, the prophet of God, any of these spiritual titles that I was reared to revere, God would show me something stark different, right? And then he taught me very painfully. It was a very, very painful process and a very lonely process, that I couldn't really trust what I saw. I had to trust what he was revealing to me behind closed doors. Fast forward, God snatched me out of that system, okay, away from that environment. And when I left, I never said a word. I never shared. God told me run and don't look back. Now I know that at the time, I wasn't equipped. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the vocabulary. I didn't have the backing, the confidence. Even though I had God on my side, I didn't have the wherewithal to be able to stand in the truth of what God was showing me and teaching me and training me to be later on down the road. I didn't have that vocabulary. And so I ran and never talked about any of the things that I had seen. So I want to paint this picture. Family, where I was raised, sexual, intimate relationships, now spiritual. All of these areas, I was supposed to be a person who could lay my head, I could trust, I could relax in these intimate relationships, right? In theory, they're close to me. These are areas that I should be able to be comfortable in. And yet, each time I learned, I guess I could say that I learned not to talk, not to tell, not to say when I was being harmed, which means that I kind of was a victim. And I'm going to get to that word in a minute. I'm not from the streets, all right? I'm not from the streets. But in the streets, it's the exact same principle. There's a code that teaches you snitches get stitches. That no matter what you see, no matter what you hear, you bet not tell nobody what you've experienced, even if it harms you. You're supposed to take a bullet for the team. You're supposed to go to jail. You're supposed to cover up, but you never are ever supposed to tell what you've seen, what you witnessed. You hear what I'm saying? And so consequently, you live in deception, okay? You live in deception and you become a victim. All right. Even there are people who are innocent, who are in jails, who've taken the rap for other people that committed murders and crimes. Again, I'm not from that world. I'm just telling what I know from my family, from my own personal relationships, from a spiritual aspect. And now I'm flipping over into a completely different arena that has the same principle, the code, don't tell. I want to read the definition of victim. The first one says, this is dictionary.com. It says it's a person who suffers from a destructive or injurious action or agency. Okay? I'm going to add /system. Agency or system. A person who suffers. The second definition, which is my favorite, listen to this very carefully. It's a person who is deceived or cheated as by his or her own emotions or ignorance. They're deceived by their own emotions or ignorance, by the dishonesty of others or some impersonable agency, and I'm going to add system. A victim. A victim is deceived or cheated by his or her own emotions or ignorance. I didn't know. We keep secrets because we don't know no better. We've been reared and conditioned as children in poverty. Our conditions, our environment teaches us that, hey, if there's no food at home, that's why so many children go to school starving, because they're depending upon somebody to feed them, but they can't tell nobody that they don't got no food at home or that mama wasn't home last night. All right, y'all with me? I can't go into every detail. You got to see it for what it looks like in your own life, okay? A victim. When you have a relationship with God, though, God does not dwell in dishonesty. God will not dwell in deceit. God will not dwell in deceit. Even in his own temple, in his own people's lives, God will do whatever he has to do to deliver you from deception, from dishonesty, from your own emotions. God will get in your life, and you got to allow him to work in that thing, to purge you, to teach you something different. And that's exactly what God did with me. Okay? He worked with me to show me that, yeah, you off. But I didn't know how to conquer it. I didn't know how to change it. It's all I had ever knew was to keep the secrets, especially if they are harming me, right? Fast forward. I, as an adult, have always worked in the helping profession, whether, I was a teacher, teacher's aide. I started off as, I've always been in the helping profession because I always wanted to keep my ear to people. I always felt like I wasn't helped. So my whole life and mission is through the love of Jesus Christ to help other people. God has given me a skill set to be able to see past what people say and do and really reach in and help them. This came years later, the revelation of these things, okay? So I was confused. I didn't know how to break the cycle. And even if you want to tell, who are you supposed to tell? Because the system teaches us, the judicial system, that even if people come forward and they say that they've been raped, a lot of times the people that have raped them are never prosecuted. They never get in trouble or pay the time. They get off for physically harming and altering your whole existence. They get off scot-free. So the system teaches us that we shouldn't tell. It reinforces, keep the secret, bite the bullet, take one for the team or whatever. Meanwhile, the perpetrators, the people that are actually doing the dirt, the people that are actually guilty, the people that are actually dishonest, they walk scot-free. And what you think they doing if they never correct that stuff? They're going to continue to do it. They're going to continue to harm. They're going to continue to rape. They're going to continue to cheat. They're going to continue to lie. They're going to continue to disguise themselves as one thing when they really another thing, because those of us that have been victims to it don't tell. God, in his infinite wisdom, I was stuck and I didn't know how to get out of it, right? In every area of my life, my way of being and seeing from my father all the way down was skewed. It was messed up, right? And so God, what he did for me was I took a job. I wasn't even supposed to get this job that I ended up getting, y'all. My supervisor had hired somebody else when my name came across his desk, and he said the Holy Spirit told him not to hire the one he'd already chosen. The Holy Spirit told him to hire this name, this girl. Fast forwarding, God took me and sat me under this man, okay? My supervisor at the time, I didn't understand it, but I just learned how to trust God and roll with God. This man was a husband. He was a father. He was a pastor. He was a leader in every right. And so God brought me under this man's tutelage so that I could learn from him, a man of God, the right way. In between there, I had been going to so many churches, seeking, making the same mistake, seeing the same thing over and over and over again, which is that no matter what I saw, no matter what God was saying, I had to keep it to myself. I couldn't tell. I had to bite the bullet, shut my mouth, bite my tongue, and not say a word, even though God was developing this prophetic, this mantle in me to be able to shout from the rooftops the things that he was saying. I didn't know at the time that that's what he was doing. He was developing this gift in me, okay? I don't know who this is for. Bear with me if you're watching. Praise God. To God be the glory. He sat me under the tutelage of this man who one by one began to break down what a father should be, what a supervisor should be, what a leader should be, what a husband should look like. Under this person, God began to deconstruct everything about me. And this is how he did it. I work with kids, right? And so sometimes the kids would do little stuff and I would ignore what they were doing. And later I'd be talking to my supervisor and he would go, listen to me, you can't do that. You can't hide or sweep under the rug what the children are doing. And I didn't get it. I was like, oh, it was no big deal. In my mind, it wasn't physical violence. It wasn't this. You understand? Skewed, messed up. Couldn't see the difference. It's important that you understand. I'm talking about me so you can see it in me. I'm being honest and vulnerable so that you can see it in me and maybe you can see it in yourself. Okay? Some of the stuff that the kids was doing wasn't a big deal. After all, I had saw worse. I had been conditioned to hold the secrets of worse. So if it became worse, I would say something. But in the little things, I wouldn't say anything. And this man of God, this supervisor, taught me, stop it. You have to say something. I was like, no, I don't snitch. Look at me. I'm the employee, the one that's supposed to be the leader. And I'm preserving or allowing deception to continue. Ooh, I hope y'all hearing me. Unaware. I didn't know any better. I was conditioned to be deceived. I was conditioned in it. It's all I know. So this man had to say, no, you have to tell on the kids. You have to tell when something isn't right, because if you don't, and it later comes out that you knew, you're going to get in trouble, different things, but mainly because, am I yelling? Sorry. Mainly because the children could end up harming themselves or somebody else. If we didn't correct the actions in the children, they would continue to do it and never change, y'all. So slowly but surely, it was a struggle for me. To this day, if something is popping off, I have a hesitation in me that goes, do I tell or don't I tell? Is it important enough to tell? Don't I tell? God, what should I do? I need your wisdom. To this day, because of the way I was conditioned, I learned to do differently. Even in my profession of mental health, as a counselor, we pride ourselves. We're supposed to keep confidence. It's ethical. It's legal. You have the right to keep secrets, right? Right. People tell you their darkest secrets, and I'm here for it. Bring it on. I'd rather you tell me than you hold it in. However, you keep the secret unless they are a harm to themselves or they are about to harm somebody else. If a child, an elder, or a dependent adult is being harmed, you don't keep the secret. You don't keep the confidentiality. You tell. Okay? Why am I saying this? What ended up happening, the theme in my life is when I didn't tell, I was always holding the stick. I was always painted out to be the bad person. I knew the truth about people, but I didn't tell the truth. So when S hit the fan, I was left holding the stick and looking guilty because I never told. Y'all better hear what I'm saying. Because I wasn't forthright in telling different things, it makes me look guilty. Let me give you an example. Recently, I had a family member do a video about how she endured some sexual things happening in her past, okay? Because of her video, an elder in our family then tells me they blame me for her video. Listen to me. It's a theme in my life where somehow something transpires with somebody else, and because I didn't warn or say or do or whatever this thing is, in the family, I'm blamed because this girl shared her truth. I swear to God, I can't make this stuff up. It's all right. I'm used to it. But I'm saying that to say, tell. I don't care what has happened in your life. You cannot continue to protect others who perpetuate crime, harm, abuse. Why are you sacrificing yourself for that? When you harbor that stuff in your heart and you keep secrets, keeping secrets is like a poison that manifests as sickness and all kinds of other mental illnesses in our lives. When you keep secret, it festers and festers and festers and festers. And it almost makes you feel crazy because you've been conditioned not to say nothing. You know what's crazy? Not saying nothing. That's the crazy part. Not saying nothing is crazy. Not saying nothing is destroying you. Not saying nothing is keeping you in bondage. It's keeping you in chains. God comes to set us free. He comes to give us life, and that more abundantly. But because you are so bound and inundated with keeping other people's secrets and your own, you can't ever be transparent. You can't ever let your hair down. You can't ever tell, yeah, I got the abortion. No, you got to keep this secret because why? Why? Stop doing that. I want to encourage you today. Tell. Get it out of your heart. Get it out of your system. Tell whatever happened. Find somebody, whether it's a parent or the law. And I know that systems and people teach us that we can't rely on them, that they will not protect us. And so if you don't feel safe, I'm asking you, find a counselor, find a therapist, find somebody that you can share these things with to get them out of your heart so you can stop being sick. And so that people can stop getting away with the crime and the crap that they be doing, and that it perpetuates for generation after generation. Y'all know the uncle who raped your mama and then they rape your daughter and now they about to rape your daughter? Come on, tell. Why are you holding that stuff? Why aren't you snitching? Because you're afraid that they're going to take your life. Let me tell you something. You already bound. You already bound to a system that don't care nothing about you. Stop fearing people. They don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. Fear God. Fear God. Tell. Free yourself. Get this stuff out of your heart. It's driving you crazy holding this stuff. And then some of us don't even know. We can't even touch it and connect the dots. That, oh, I got this because of this. It takes a trained eye to walk you through those steps, to trace things back, to show you where you went wrong. And it's not a matter of right or wrong. Some of us just didn't know any better. That's why I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. Since then, if you can't tell parents, the law, teachers, counselors, nobody, tell God. Let me tell you something. God is all knowing. And just like me, I felt like I didn't have nobody to tell. God dealt with me and he placed me in front of a person, right at that person, that I could learn, deconstruct and learn a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of preserving integrity and honor in my own life. In my own life, y'all. I want that for you. And so consequently, people like me will always be hated, and I will always be discredited, and I will always be talked about, which doesn't bother me. It only bothers me when I be knowing the truth about people and other people be running their mouth. And then I feel, here it is. Do I tell or don't I tell? Do I keep the confidence or don't I keep the confidence? That's the only time I have to do that. Do I tell, don't tell? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? I now know the difference. Some things are not worth my time. But I want to encourage you. Tell. If it will set you free, tell. There's a way that you can do it. There's a way that you can do it. But get that junk out your heart so you won't be sick. So you won't be mentally ill. So you won't be physically sick. And so that it can save somebody else's life. People are suffering. People are getting away with things. And other people are suffering. They are victims because you won't open your mouth. Tell. Be specific sometimes when you tell these details. This is all I have. I know this video is long. I don't know who this is for. I just know what God has pressed upon me. And I know what it's like to be a victim. I know what it's like to be deceived and cheated by my own emotions and my ignorance because of somebody else's dishonesty. I didn't think I was worth it. I didn't think nobody cared. I didn't think anybody would want to hear what I had endured or what I suffered. And then God began to show me, open up your mouth. And when I did, it not only freed me and purged me and cleaned me from the guttermost. Remember, this roots and roots and roots. He delivered me. I am now able to turn around and help others come into that same freedom. You can do it too. We can teach you the tools. We can give you the vocabulary. We can teach you how to do it, but it must be done. All right, this video's long enough. Hope you have a good day. Tell, 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 and tell. Take care.